Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Football section, or FFS for short. I'm Tom Webster and this is game week 10. That is right, we are into double figures and we are up to 84 participants in the Red All Over League, but it is never too late to join. If you want to be part of it, I will put the link in the description and the comments down below. And if you want, you can follow me on Twitter at FFSTom RAO, where I will post tips and reminders for all of the players in the league. And that is where JB has started to follow me, and he has also joined our league. He is an American and a Wrexham fan, but we won't hold either against him. In fact, I need to apologise to all Wrexham fans and Dennis Sirkin, as I've been pronouncing his name Kirkin, but that is because I'm a complete and utter cretin. Or is that Srettin? I'm not so sure. Anyway, it is now time for a quick butchers at game week 9, and I still haven't managed to find a local butchers to sponsor me, and having to buy my own pork pies still. Now we will start by looking at the top 6, and EFL Fantasy Josh solidifies his grip on top spot with 593 points, 10 points in front of Blackpool's Tangerine Army, who moves up to second in front of Waymaker FC, who is on 580 points, 13 points behind her husband. 13 is unlucky for some, and she drops down to third. Tykes FC drops down to fourth on 578. Captain Phillips stays in fifth on 572. And bringing up the rear is the Bomb Squad in sixth on 555 points. Now, I'm not quite as smug as I was last week. I've no longer in seventh. I've dropped down to 12th. It wasn't great for me. And now it is time for the top team. And this week it's a local side. It's Doncaster Rovers. They beat Grimsby 3-0 away from home, picking up maximum points of 11. And they were the only team to do so. Now, you know, if we have a top team, we have a banter side, and the banter team this week is Hull. They got beat 4-0 against Norwich. Lads, no, it wasn't you. You were the ones that got mauled. Um, Now it's time to move on to the star man, and this week it is James McLean. He got 2 goals and an assist in a 4-1 win for Wrexham against Northampton. And Deadpool FC had getting a lot of airtime from me this week. But if I'm honest, if Ryan Reynolds or the other one, whatever his name is, wants to retweet this show, I will mention them every single week. Now, if there's a star man, you know there must be a pants pick, and it is Terence Van Kooten, and he scored -2, getting sent off after 10 minutes. If you had him in your team, he was pants, and he has cost you dearly this week. And now we move on to the People's Champion, and it is our very own Red All Overs, Craig Wood, with crossing for Cosy, scoring 70 points this week. That's a big turnaround from game week 1, where he picked up the participation award. His biggest scoring player this week is Borja Sainz, scoring him 30 points as he had him captained. Poku got him another solid 13, and he picked Wrexham, which was his highest scoring team. Now, moving on to the bit you've all been waiting for, it is the participation award. And this week it's a little bit special. This week it goes to our founder, our creator, our Joe Beardsall, with the very, very imaginative name of Red All Over Joe. Yeah, that's pretty poor, isn't it, Joe? almost as poor as your score this week, which was 10 points. And Joe, now I'm reaching out to you for comment. Would you like to discuss your tactics? I can borrow Josh's tactics board if you like, but we would love to hear from you. But now it is time for me to disappear, as it's this week's ultimate team. And this week's ultimate team's formation is a 2-3-1. And with this combination of players, you would have scored maximum points. Starting in goal, we have Lucas Jensen from Millwall. The two at the back is Derby's Curtis Nelson scoring 16 points and Harrogate Town's Jasper Moon scoring 12. In midfield, we have the trio of Wrexham's James McLean, Bolton's Kyle Dempsey. Oh, sorry, James McLean scored 20. Bolton's Kyle Dempsey and Grant Ward of Bristol Rovers both scoring 16. And leading the line up front is Borja Sainz of Norwich scoring 15 points. He was in the ultimate team last week. He is hitting a little bit of a purple patch before the international break. Now, the two teams you should have picked were Doncaster scoring 11 and Derby getting 9. However, you could have picked one of 9 teams other than Derby, who scored 9 points, including both Sheffield clubs, but I will not put them in here if I can avoid it. There were also 12 keepers on 9 points, 3 defenders on 12, and 3 midfielders on 16. So the ultimate team could have looked very different this week, but still got the same amount of points. However, I don't have the patience to name every single one of them. But if you had the star man captained, he gets you double points, and all of that combines for a maximum of 144 points. And if you had any of the players that I have mentioned, or picked Doncaster or the multiple teams on 9 points, congratulations this week. Now we look ahead to game week 10, and unfortunately it is international break, which means a much reduced fixture list. There is absolutely no championship, only 2 games in League One and 10 games in League Two, meaning there is only 12 games to choose from. Which also means I struggled a little bit for choice of picking a team. Most of the poorer sides are away from home and are all playing each other, and I don't see an easy win. However, I'm going to suggest Bradford. They are against an out-of-form Tranmere side with no wins in 5. I think only picking up 1 draw in that time. Bradford's form is up and down themselves. However, I do see that as a winnable fixture. Now, who should you avoid this week? It's got to be Accrington Stanley. They have been fairly poor this season, and they are up against a Gillingham side who, up until their last 2 games, were very, very good. They have lost their last 2. However, I think they want to bounce back, and this is the perfect opportunity for them to do so. And now it is Transfer Tinder time. And I'm going to start with Theo Vassell of Barrow. The defender has scored good points all season and finds himself up against a pretty toothless Morecambe side, who have only scored 8 so far this season. Barrow only conceding 7. So I am swiping right on Theo. The next player I'm going to talk about is Archie Collins, a midfielder for Peterborough who has picked up 5 yellow cards already this season and therefore is suspended. You may have missed this as it is not a straight red. It's accumulation of yellow cards, but he won't be available for the Rotherham game, so swipe left on him if you have him in your side. Now we come to Max Clark, a defender for Gillingham. He comes up against a fairly poor Accrington side, and I don't see them troubling Gillingham's defence. So I am going to say swipe right on Clark. And finally, on to Grimsby defender Harvey Rodgers. He was sent off last week against Doncaster, so he won't be playing this weekend. So I am saying swipe left. Now I thought I was getting pretty good at this, but I had an absolute stinker this week. There was only Joe who was worse than me. I was 83rd. So I really am as thick as school dinner's custard. But please comment and tell me who you are swiping right on and who you are swiping left on this week. Tell me the teams that you would pick and the teams that you would avoid, because I need all the help I can get. So, thank you very much for listening and making it this far. Please give us a like, subscribe, and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any of our fantastic content, or this show. So thank you very much for listening.